Hello everybody, welcome to the Aquascape Corner. So today I'm going to be doing a tour of all the fish I have and showing off my sort of fish room that I just set up. So as it's a new year and I haven't been uploading that much, I've decided this year I'm going to try and upload every week. That's my goal, every week, probably the weekends or sometime just get an upload out every week. Alright, so starting things off, this is my sort of 6-7 gallon, or it's a 25 litre tank. I'll try my best to get it in litres and US gallons, but they will be a bit off. So this started off as a little plants tank, and I've stripped a lot of plants out to plant tanks downstairs. But it did look a lot better than this, and it's really overgrown, but it's got my female betta in here, and she's very fat and pregnant, she's full of eggs. So I've got a male I'm hoping to breed with her downstairs. And some more recent additions to this tank are a group of 10 Dicrossus filamentosus, or I think they're Dicrossus filamentosus. So alright guys, sorry to interject, but after looking at them, this is the Dicrossus filamentosus, and this is the Dicrossus maculatus. At this size, it's very hard to tell which is which, but let me know what you think. These are checkerboard cichlids, and they're very small. That's the biggest one there. There's my finger for some comparison. But I bought a group of 10, and yeah, they're really small. The biggest one, there's two bigger ones, is that one and that one. They're about an inch, and there's a really, really small one. But these guys, they could be Dicrossus maculatus, but because of this size, they're really hard to tell. But they were just sold as checkerboard cichlids. So I've decided to get a group of them and try breeding them because they're quite hard to breed, and this should be a fun project. So these guys are really small cichlid species from South America. They max out at about 8 centimeters or about 2 to 3 inches. And yeah, at this size they're not very aggressive and they're fine with just my betta in here because she's quite peaceful. But as they get older, I'm going to move them downstairs. So with these guys, it's important to keep a lot of leaf litter and just sort of stuff that they can always nibble on, and they need really, really clean water, really low nitrates, and just sort of a constant source of food. So live food, really small powdered flake food's good, but frozen food and live food are really the best. So next to that tank is I think this is about a 10 litre, but it's slightly drained out so the fish don't jump out. This tank is super small and there's some very small fish in it. This is sort of my small grow out. So if I go to the fish shop and I see fish that I want, but they're just far too small, then I'll put them in here. And this tank looks quite grey on camera. It's really green in real life. I'll see if I can try to fix that. There we go. It's a bit more green in real life. But this tank has a 1 male, 2 female trio of Furcata rainbows, and they're about an inch right now. There's the male, and there's the two. Oh, there's one of the females. There's also a sparkling gourami in here, just there, and a very small bristlenose pleco, which I can't find. So this tank is really heavily planted and there's a lot of algae in it as well, but it's coming along and I really enjoy it. Even though it's tiny, I quite enjoy it. And these fish, they'll come out of here eventually, but for now, this is a good home for them. Now there's the sparkling gourami. It's a male. Sorry about the reflections, not much I can do to fix that. And this guy was the last fish in the shop. He'd been there for about a year, and I picked him up because I thought, oh, it's sparkling gourami, he's cheap, he looks cool. And he'd been over there for a year because he was in the bottom row of one of the tanks, and sort of just a tank with sort of small grey cichlids and stuff, and he's blended right in. So I picked him out, and yeah, I got him for free. But he's looking really good, and I'm hoping to breed him later on and get him some females. So in all of my tanks, you'll see fairly thick substrate, about a minimum of an inch, and a lot of snails, and a lot of plants. Snails and plants is just the key. And most of these tanks I don't do water changes on or anything. They just sort of sit there. Oh, some of the filamentosus are out, or what I think are filamentosus. These guys are so cool. They remind me a lot of tiny pufferfish. I don't know why. They're just the sort of the way they move around. It's a lot like pufferfish. They're so cool. There's the smallest one up there. That guy's pushing a centimetre, not even a centimetre. There's a betta for comparison, he's tiny. But they're settling in quite well. This tank also has about 100 ramshorn snails in it, and they're probably one of my favourite snails. They're really cool, they get some good colours on them when they get older, and they just suck up algae. They're really nice. So also in here, I've got a sort of 80 litre, it's like a 3 foot long 80 litre tank, but it's 85 centimetres, so about 3 foot. And this eventually is going to have some newts in it, and the newts are over here in this tank. Oh, let me get the light. So these are some ones from a pond. I collect them as tadpoles from a pond that was drying up. So I live in the UK, and they are either smooth newts or palmate newts, probably a mix of both. And they're just in this enclosure. I feed them fruit flies and stuff. There's one there, right in the middle of the screen. But believe it or not, there's 11 in here. And when they're nocturnal, so they're really hard to spot. But the biggest ones are 1 inch to 2 inches. But there's 2 of them. All of the ones are that sort of size, but there's 2 of them that are really, really small and thin. And I don't know why, if it's like parasite something, but it's not spreading to the others. So if there's any of you guys that know about newts in the comments, then let me know. They're really, really small and they're not eating. So I can't see any of those ones. But yeah, let me know.
Now I'm heading down to the fish room. This is recently set up and it's got the majority of my tanks in it. It's also got a 8-foot rack in it, which I'll go a bit more in depth into now.
So yeah, here's the full rack. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 full tanks, a few empty ones. But it's 8 foot long and about 5 foot high, I think. It's 148 centimeters by 280, no, yeah, 240 by 45 centimeters front to back. So it's quite a big tank, it's quite a big rack. And first off, starting with the tour, is my fancy goldfish. This is sort of turned into a bit of a cold water community tank, but it's a bit cloudy at the moment, so it's kind of in due for a water change. But in here I have 3 fancy goldfish. They're not huge, but they're breeding, so they're kind of big. There is 2 pearl scales and 1 big calico oranda. And at the shop recently I saw some really nice Thai panda orandas, and I really wanted to get them, but they weren't for sale because they just come in. So I'll have to go back and get them. But in here there's also a dojo loach. Oh, there he is. And a small group of platies that I'm looking after right now. And this tank's just powered by a canister filter at the back there. An Eheim Echo, I'm not sure what size it is. But this tank is an 80 litre. It is 80 centimetres across. And it's about an 80 litre tank. But I'm going to take out these pots because the goldfish were getting stuck in them because they were all together. But the goldfish were getting stuck in them, and so they're coming out. So especially with pearl scales, I just really would recommend not to keep any form of decoration with them because they're so fat and stupid that they just get stuck. But you know, fantails and orandas, I'd say you can get away with some more bigger decoration. So I've tried plants with these guys and they just eat them. So this one's staying plantless. Across is a little fry tank I have with some baby goldfish in it. So I won't cover those ones too much, but there's some 3 baby goldfish that I spawned. And I went on holiday when they were fry, so I lost quite a lot. There's 3 left and they're doing well. And then down here is my African dwarf frog tank, and it's come a long way since you last saw it. It's really grown in, and I've added some more plants, but it's properly starting to look good. So there's 2 massive Amazon swords at the back, 2 big clumps of Java fern, a massive Anubias in there, and there's one of the frogs down there. And here's my male powder blue dwarf gourami. I recently purchased a female that I'm hoping to eventually breed them, but I'm gonna wait until she's a lot bigger, so there's no chance of him killing her. These guys are quite aggressive. But I can't see the other frog. I've done a more in-depth video on African dwarf frogs. I'm not gonna touch this tank too much, but you can just sort of see where it's come along. And this Java fern is massive. There's my hand up for it. I got that for £7 All of that for £7, so that was a bargain. But yeah, and along from it is like a 4-foot shallow tank. Not really shallow, it's 4 foot, it's 120 centimeters by 30 by 45. So if you've got any suggestions, go in here, let me know. And then up from that is my 200 litre. This is quite recent setup, so it's got a lot of algae and diatoms on it at the moment. There's a lot of staghorn algae up there as well. But it's getting in balance. And I'm gonna go over all the fish in here. So, there's my female powder blue dwarf gourami, who I'm hoping to spawn with a male down here. But there's a pair of golden rams in here, which I think are male and female. I think that's the male, and I think that's the female. So those guys are called Marge and Homer, because they're yellow, and I thought that was really funny. And then there's also another pair of dwarf cichlids in here. There is a pair of Epistogramma agassizii blue flame, which I'm going to talk about more when they actually come out. So in here there's a big group of black neon tetras and a smaller group of emperor tetras. Here's the nice male emperor tetra. Hoping to breed these guys. There's one lonely cardinal from a previous school that I had. There's a few yellow platies from my breeding colony. And there's some Chypre danios in here as well. And there's a pair of locally bred Stirbai corridors in here that were given to me by a friend. Oh, there's the male Epistogramma. He's really cool. So in these tanks, you can keep them together because it's such a big tank, but these guys are quite aggressive. So I bought these guys as Epistogramma borelli, which now that they're fully grown, they're definitely not borelli. But there's a male and a female in here. But after recent identification, I found out they're an Epistogramma agassizii blue flame. So they're quite aggressive. He's so pretty. He's so pretty. Yeah, so yeah, I bought them as borelli, and they were sort of not looking like it. So I posted in a forum that I'm in and found out that they're Epistos. So I got them for quite cheap for Epistos. And it turns out I've scored lucky and got quite rare ones, which I actually can't find for sale anywhere in the UK. So I think they're blue flame, Epistogramma agassizii blue flame. But if you think there's something else, then let me know. There's the other corridors up there. I want to get a bigger group of these guys and hopefully spawn them. But in here, there's a lot of plants. There's a huge mix of stem plants. There's some, this sort of veined one is Hygrophila polysperma rosanervig, which is a cultivar of Hygrophila polysperma. There's also some crypt flamingo beginning to push through some new leaves. There's Myriophylla mactandum grossae and Limnophila siciliflora there. There's big bulbitis, some Vallisneria spiralis tiger, and some dwarf sage up there. There is some more Hygrophila polysperma and the Myriophylla, and there's a Cryptocorini balancea there. There's a big mix of cryptocorines in the front. And yeah, there's some Monte Carlo. It's pretty much doubled in size since I put it in here. So that's doing quite well. And then, yeah, some Anubias up here, and some weeping moss, which I believe is weeping moss, or Taiwan moss. I'm not really sure. And a Java fern there. Some more Anubias and stuff scattered around. Oh, and some Hygrophila polysperma. No, oh, what's it called? That cloverleaf one. I always forget. Hydrocotyle tripartita. So that's doing well. And yeah. So yeah, this tank is powered by a large canister filter. There's the intake, or the outflow. No, yeah, there's the intake and there's the outflow. So the tank is a bit in need for water change. Some bubbles starting to form. There's a bit of a protein skim. But yeah, it's powered by a Fluval 206 canister filter, and the tank itself is also Fluval. It's a Fluval Roma 200, I think. But this is a complaint to Fluval. So your filters, the main big selling filter that you have, which is the sort of 2.0 series, and the main sort of Fluval Roma tanks, they do not match up. On the lid, you can see there's the Fluval Here's the fluval Roma attachment, and here's the lid. It doesn't work, so I'm gonna have to drill this lid, which that's my biggest complaint. But apart from that, it's flawless. And the light I'm running on here, oops. Here's my knife, I don't want that to fall in the water. The light I'm running on here is a Haiger. Haiger, I can't specifically remember the exact one, but it's the 24/7 one. This lid's a bit of a nightmare, I'll get that later. So, lid fixed. But yeah, that's the Haiger 24/7 light. It is performed very well for me so far, and it's about 50 quid, and that's a bargain for this light. It's done this tank really, it's done it justice. It's looking really good. But then up from this is a small blackwater tank. It originally had the Epistogramma in it, but as they got bigger, I moved them down to here. And yeah, so just a sort of blackwater tank there. It's got a bit of algae on it, but there's nothing in here at the moment. So I want to put some sort of cold water blackwater fish. I'm thinking about a pair of sticklebacks, so I've got them in my pond outside, which I'm not going to show in this video. It's night time, but they're going to go in here because I want to observe their spawning behaviour. This is a 20-litre tank. Then here's a 25-litre with my colony of yellow variatus. The tank's a bit cloudy because I did a water change the other day. And this is dirted as well. Yeah, so as I mentioned, that one's not dirted, but this is really thick substrate, and this is all dirted. You see a bit of the dirt there, with just dirt from outside. There's my female pisto. So even the females are quite pretty on this variety. But yeah, so it's dirted. It's a very thin capping, which is an experiment. So it means that when you plant into it, it's really dusty for a few days. But I found that this provides really good nutrients if you have root feeding plants like this. Pearlweed is root feeding, water column feeding, so it's really good. So this tank has some mix of some Liliops brasiliensis there, some pearlweed, some Limophylla, some Myriophyllum. There's a whole bunch of what's that called? Heteranthera zosterfolia at the back. Which you can't really see there, but that's a whole like Chinese Tupperware tray just full of it. Super dense. Then across from that, there's two of these tanks. These are 12 litres, I believe. This one's a bit cloudy because I just fed it. But in here, there's growing out a group of Bristlenose plecos. These guys are the two biggest ones, but they were tiny when I got them. They'd just come off the yolk sac, and they're doing really well. Here's a smaller one. But also in here is a pair of Aphysemyon striatum, which are the red striatum killifish, and they've just disappeared as soon as I filmed them. But these guys have been showing a lot of spawning action. I even got some eggs from them pretty soon after I put them in, and I've not been focused on spawning them. They've been spawning, and I've just let them eat the eggs because I don't really have my fry system set up yet. So yeah, they're just gonna eat the eggs for now. There's the male. He's beautiful. You can't really see it, but he's a beauty. And even the female's quite pretty. She's got some red lines across her side. You can't really see on camera, but she's quite pretty for a killifish female. Then in here is my guppy tank, which is just some remaining guppy fry. So the water here is very, very soft, so guppies don't do great in it. So this is my sort of hard water, no filter, no light, nothing in this tank. It's about 22 degrees Celsius, maybe about 72 degrees Fahrenheit. This is it's another 12 litres just sitting up here, and this is the best luck I've had with guppies. I've tried all sorts of things, and this unheated tank with a bit of crushed coral and loads of plants up top, and no light, nothing, has been what's working for me. So yeah, there's female, and there are a couple of females and a nice male in there. They're just growing out and hoping to have some babies soon. Then moving across is another jungly tank full of dwarf sage. This is another 20 litre, and this has a blue veil-tail male betta. He looks black because the light's really bad, but he's blue and red. He's really cool, but he's super aggressive. So I tried pairing him with that female, and a female betta upstairs. The female really wanted to breed. She kept releasing eggs under the nest and stuff, and he just was he thought she was a threat, so he was trying to kill her and stuff. so I just separate them. I'm going to try again fairly soon, but he's really cool. And then there's a male-female pair of peacock gudgeon in here. These guys are so cool, so pretty. But yeah, this tank is just a jungle, and I love this one. It's become one of my favorites. Loads of thick dirted substrate, and it's really cool. So that's pretty much all my tanks at the moment. I want to do a more in-depth video about the sort of future of what I want to do with some of the tanks, and fry racks and stuff. But for now, I think it's going pretty good. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments. I don't think this one's going to do very well, because the videos that I've had doing quite well were sort of like care guides and how-tos and best beginner plants and stuff. So I don't think this one's going to do amazing, but I'll just put it out there. And yeah, my goal is to sort of grow my channel a lot more when in this new year. So yeah, hopefully that happens. But yeah, I also want to breed a lot more fish, as I've got a lot of breeding stock. You know, I've got those bettas, I've got the gouramis, the gudgeon, the killifish, all these tetras, which the black neons and the emperors are fairly easy to breed. I've got all this breeding stock, and I want to get a fry system going and just churn out babies. And the rams as well, the pistos, so they're, oh, we got the danio, the glow light danios in here, the Chypre danios. So yeah, so that's my goals for 2024. If you've got anything else to add, just put it in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. So thank you for watching, and go check out my other videos.